I'd heard good things about Phineas and Ferb Star Wars. I did not expect to like it as much as I did, to the point where I was kind of Cheshire Cat grinning by the end of it, because I absolutely adored it. It is so clever, so creative, and if you're a Star Wars fan, you have to watch it. Somebody somewhere in a review, I think it might have been a review on Google actually, or maybe Letterboxd, had said that you don't have to even have heard of Phineas and Ferb to be able to enjoy this. And I feel like that's true, because it's all Star Wars reference after Star Wars reference. It's very much Phineas and Ferb in the Star Wars universe rather than the other way on. Obviously, I have heard of Phineas and Ferb. I haven't even seen it, and I rather enjoyed it in parts. I haven't seen it too much, although I did have a pair of shoes with Phineas and Ferb on them at one point. There were some references that I didn't get, a few Phineas and Ferb characters that I wasn't really aware of who they were. There's the Norm 3PO, or whatever he's called. I just don't understand that character. But purely looking at the Star Wars side of it, it is incredible. This was released in 2014, directed by Robert Hughes and Sue Perrotto, written by Kyle Menke, Michael Bell, and Michael Diederich. And the voice cast is obviously heavily the Phineas and Ferb voice cast. Vincent Martella as Phineas, Thomas Brodie-Sangster as Ferb, Ashley Tisdale as Candace, with the fabulous Caroline Rhea as their mother, Linda. D. Bradley Baker voices Perry the Platypus, of course. And this is kind of... It starts off with the impression that it's going to be A New Hope, and it very much starts off with a lot of the key plot points of A New Hope, with, with Leia putting the hologram message onto a CD. And we have Luke working on the farm at Tatooine, and then we get this wonderfully catchy song called, I think it's just called Tatooine. It might be called Living on Tatooine or something, but it's really engaging and a lot of fun and thoroughly enjoyable. And I think there are 3 or 4 other songs. It's 50 minutes, so it packs a lot in, and I absolutely love the music. It was brilliant, quite catchy. A couple of the songs were a bit unmemorable, but ultimately I really thoroughly enjoyed them. It's quite unique to hear somebody singing a positive, upbeat song about Tatooine. And I don't really want to go into too much detail about any specifics that happen kind of after that, as it begins to incorporate different aspects of different films. For example, without going into too much detail, we have a Darth Maul moment, and various other things that you'll be able to pick up on. Obviously, we have our Vader character, but actually, he's called Darthenschmerz, and he is trying to be the best Vader of all the Vaders, or of all the Darths, and that is something that I thought was brilliant. So it's not actually Vader himself, it's slightly different take. I really thoroughly enjoyed his character. 3PO is amazing. He's actually voiced by Simon Pegg, which I didn't realise until after the fact. So I need to kind of probably go back to Disney Plus and rewatch it, which, to be honest, I'm probably going to do, because it really is fabulous. But C-3PO for me had to be in this, and obviously he is with R2, and I thought he was brilliant. Leia is not in it very much, thankfully. For me, I kind of, being a big Carrie Fisher fan, I kind of needed Leia to not be in this too much, although absolutely nothing wrong with April Winchell, who voices her. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. There are so many references. Now, I love Star Wars, but I wouldn't ever call myself the biggest Star Wars fan. For one thing, I've only been a fan for about 2 years. I fell quite hard for it, once I did fall for it. But, there are still a lot of gaps in my knowledge, so I feel like if I watch this again in a year's time, once I've rewatched the films, read some books and comics, there will be even more references that I pick up. But the writers for this clearly know their stuff. They know Star Wars, and it's just reference and Easter egg on top of each other. Not sure what the socks were about. I don't know if there's a relevance there, or if it was just to make it quite silly and gimmicky, which, it serves a place with those troopers. I also like the way they kept Candace's rivalry with her brothers by putting her on the other side. I just think there were so many smart decisions, clever decisions. The dialogue is amazing. The animation style is beautiful. Some of them look... everybody looks recognisable, but some of them look quite different. For example, some of the stormtroopers are quite short. So they kind of have a slightly more fun approach. Whereas I think the animation for R2 and 3PO were pretty much spot on. Like, it didn't have too much of a Phineas and Ferb feel. Really impressed with the animation style, with the editing, with the soundtrack, obviously the voice acting and the casting, the way they weave together several different Star Wars narratives. I knew I'd like it. I did not expect to enjoy it this much. It really is amazing. And all I can say is when Disney bought Star Wars, I kind of thought, this was before I was a Star Wars fan. But I'm not, I don't care that they have Marvel. I really do not care about Marvel. But when they bought Star Wars, I was thinking, why are they stepping away from what they know and going into this? But I'm so glad they did. So glad they did, now that I'm a fan. Opinions can change. I love it. It makes me want to visit cartoon Tatooine. I rarely say this. It's absolutely perfect.